But be a good person, spread the gospel, give people something to believe in, and just show that if you give your best, it's good enough. You know, I feel like people in life are so hard on themselves. You give your best and you come up short, and people just want to give up all the time. It's like, give your best. Don't worry about what outsiders who have not worked for nothing have to say, and focus on delivering your best. And that's all I've ever done, is give my best.
During a recent public interview, Claressa Shields found herself in an uncomfortable situation after talking openly about her complicated connection with Papoose. What was meant to highlight their bond ended up creating more confusion and criticism instead. Instead of coming across in a positive way, her comments appeared to turn the situation upside down, and the response from viewers and from Papoose himself seemed noticeably tense. He did not appear comfortable with how the conversation on the Breakfast Club was going, especially when the discussion moved toward financial topics. Although she never directly stated anything extreme, she strongly suggested details about how he contributes money, how he supports her lifestyle, and how he takes care of many expenses. That alone already made the moment feel messy, but things became even more complicated when she brought up Layla Ali again in a way that sounded competitive. Many people felt there was no real need to include Ali in the discussion, especially since there had already been past tension and corrections made about their situation. Because of that history, every mention of Ali's name now seems to carry extra emotion, and Shields repeated it several times during the interview, which added to the discomfort in the room. It also looked like Papoose was paying close attention to those remarks, and his reaction suggested he was not fully at ease with how things were being presented. As the conversation continued, she kept returning to the Breakfast Club platform, almost like she had become a regular guest. And once again she described her relationship in a very public and confident way. She spoke about it as if it was something stable and impressive, even though the details she shared painted a complicated picture. She also talked about a birthday event she organized for Papoose, where she introduced a card game involving a choice between two hidden cash amounts. In that game, one option was $1,000 and the other was $10,000, but the twist was that the amounts were unknown at the time of choosing. According to her account, Papoose picked the option that turned out to be the smaller amount, and when he later discovered he had missed the higher prize, she claimed he became visibly frustrated. That story immediately caught attention and raised questions among viewers about why such a moment was included in a public interview. Later in the conversation, host Charlemagne the God stepped in and asked a direct question about perception, pointing out that sharing stories like this could lead people to assume the relationship is based on financial support rather than genuine connection. This shifted the tone of the interview again, and Shields quickly tried to clarify her position. She explained that Papoose pays for several major expenses in her life, including her mortgage, her car payments, and insurance costs, and she added that he often covers travel and other needs as well. However, instead of calming the discussion, these explanations made the situation feel even more complex, because they seemed to contrast with earlier comments about him reacting strongly over missing a larger cash option. As a result, the narrative became harder for the public to interpret, with different details pulling in different directions. Many people watching were left questioning how someone described as financially supportive could also be upset over a relatively small missed opportunity, and that contradiction fueled even more debate and confusion around the entire interview.
But be a good person, spread the gospel, give people something to believe in, and just show that if you give your best, it's good enough. You know, I feel like people in life are so hard on themselves. You give your best and you come up short, and people just want to give up all the time. It's like, give your best. Don't worry about what outsiders who have not worked for nothing have to say, and focus on delivering your best. And that's all I've ever done, is give my best. And I have been okay with that. I gave my best in MMA and I lost the fight. I lost the fight in MMA, but I gave my best. And the only way I was able to live with that fight and that loss is because I know I gave my best in training camp. I gave my best in the fight. I had 8 stitches taken on my head 3 days before the fight. But hey, I gave my best. And if you give your best, and that's to anybody in here, if you give your best, whether you come up short or not, it's okay. Do it again, and maybe you'll come out on top the next time, but just don't quit. Giving your best is enough.
When people look at the situation closely, the numbers and claims just don't seem to match. It leaves many confused and asking what is really going on. Either he is regularly spending a large amount of money without hesitation, or the reaction to the $10,000 moment points to something very different. Whatever the truth is, the story doesn't fully connect. And that is exactly why so many people are discussing it. In the end, it all circles back to one major issue: pride. Right now, that pride is not helping the situation at all. Many feel that openly claiming a relationship with a married man is already a sensitive topic, and it is not something the public will simply accept without questions. People draw a clear line there, and they are not likely to ignore it or treat it as normal. It has already been explained many times that being separated is not the same as being divorced, and that difference matters a lot. Separation is still a legal and emotional in-between stage, while divorce is final. Trying to blur that line only makes everything look more complicated and unclear. When something is still legally unfinished, it is natural for people to question what is being presented in public, especially when the situation has been ongoing for a long time. When you compare this case to others in the public eye, the difference becomes even more noticeable. In many high-profile divorces, even when the situations are messy, things usually move forward once paperwork is filed. The process may take time, but there is still visible progress, steps being taken, and a clear direction. In this situation, however, people have been hearing about it for more than 2 years without real closure. That long delay has created doubt and frustration among viewers. The common argument is that divorce papers were filed, but filing alone does not mean the matter is finished. It only starts the legal process, and until everything is completed, nothing is officially resolved. What makes this even more questionable for some is how that filing reportedly happened in the first place, with claims that it came after public pressure and online criticism rather than a calm mutual decision. After that moment, there still has not been clear movement toward final closure, which is why people continue to question the situation instead of accepting it at face value. Because of all this, many believe the situation keeps coming back to the same point: pride and public image. Some feel that the way the relationship is being presented is more about image than reality. There is constant emphasis on money, status, and lifestyle, with repeated statements about financial support and material comfort. However, instead of strengthening the image, it often raises more questions. People generally believe that when someone is truly confident and secure in their life or relationship, they do not need to repeatedly explain or defend it. Their situation is usually understood through actions, not constant explanations. But here, the ongoing need to clarify, justify, and respond to criticism makes the story feel unsettled. It creates the impression that there is something still being worked out behind the scenes. Another point that adds to the discussion is the way private details are being shared publicly. Financial matters, personal reactions, and even emotional responses have been brought into interviews and online conversations. While this may have been intended to show honesty or openness, it has instead created more debate. For example, the story about the $10,000 card game moment, where he reportedly became upset after missing out on the higher amount, added fuel to the conversation. To many listeners, that detail did not match the image being presented of someone financially secure and fully in control. That kind of contrast is exactly what keeps people talking, because it introduces inconsistency into the narrative. At the same time, public behavior and body language have also become part of the discussion. After appearances and interviews, clips circulating online showed noticeable distance between them while walking, with space between their movements and a lack of visible closeness. Some people pointed out that he walked ahead while she followed behind, which created the impression of separation rather than unity. Others noticed that there was little effort to stay physically close or connected in public. While body language can be interpreted in different ways, it often influences how people understand a relationship, especially when combined with everything else being said. Adding to the confusion, timing and social media activity around events have also played a role. When both individuals were seen posting from the same major event around the same time, people quickly started connecting details and questioning what it meant. Even explanations that it was just reposting did not fully calm public reactions, because the timing felt too close for many to ignore. Once people begin linking events together, it becomes difficult to reverse that perception, even if there is a simple explanation behind it. All of this has created a pattern in the public eye, A statement is made, it gets attention, then something else happens that shifts the conversation again. This cycle keeps repeating, and each time it does, more people become interested in understanding the full picture. Instead of one clear and stable story, what people see is a series of moments that do not always align smoothly. That is why the discussion continues to grow rather than fade away. In the end, what matters most is consistency. People pay attention not only to what is said, but also to what is shown through actions, timing, and behavior. When those elements do not fully match, questions naturally follow. Until everything lines up in a clear and simple way, people will continue to talk, analyze, and try to understand what is really happening behind the scenes.